Okay, because once you start having the weight, your adipocyte gain, it will never lost. You will never lost your adipocyte. It will just shrink in size. And what's the top journal says? Once people develop obesity, it's next to impossible for them to return to a healthy weight without bariatric surgery. The same Lancet, it also presents that in the world there are so many obese people, almost half of the world. Only 1% of the obese people are able to reduce weight successfully and maintain it for a year without any intervention, only with the self-determination. So how about the magic pill? I think most of us are using magic pill here. For me, I don't have much experience. I just use a very limited, but I'm not in my whole practice on the weight management for more than 10 years. So far, I only prescribe it to about 3 patients. This is just to stimulate and motivate them for the weight loss. And I don't do it for long duration, about 3 months. So what happened? There are 2 classifications, which is reduce the food intake or decrease the nutrient absorption. And we have like Oristat and Phentermine, all those drugs. I think you all are more familiar than me, right? So these are the results that we get. When you're on the stiburamine, after 2 years, you stop it, the weight will gain again. The weight will gain. So does the Retatrutide is the same, and that's the reason why there is a barrier. To my experience is first, patients have the false sense of security that they are on these medications. They can take as much food as they can. First of all, they cannot control their cell discipline. And then we are helping them by let them release their inhibitions. So the reason is, this is one, cell security. Second thing is, nobody actually understands the proper etiology of obesity and mechanism of actions of the drugs that we use to treat them. And typical weight loss with a single agent is not very good, only 10%, and we can not really use a combination because it's dangerous of the side effect, tachycardia and heart failure, depression. So this is the dilemma that we are facing. The more you try to lose weight, the more you gain. You lost, you go up, the more. This is a reality. I think everybody has seen all this, right? It's a reality. There is some reason behind, but I think because of the time and all that, I can't explain so much. We can do it another times, So, anybody heard about the gastric balloon? This is for those who are so scared about the surgery. We just do it under the day care procedure using the endoscope. And the balloon is filled with normal saline or air, but I'm using the saline fill because I find it safer. When the balloon ruptured, the patient will pass out the green or blue color urine because I put it with the methylene blue and normal saline so that I want to prevent the obstructions. And this is the uninflated. After fully inflated, it will sit in the stomach. There. This is my success. I'm very proud of her. She has removed the balloon for 4 years. She's still able to maintain the same size. Okay. This is another one, but this is a bad one. She removed the balloon and she put on weight after 6 months. So the result is variable and depending on the cell discipline. Because the balloon cannot be kept there forever, it has a lifespan. We have to remove it either after 6 months or 1 year, depending on the type of the balloons that we use. So, rising of the obesity and also need to increase in the rate of the bariatric surgery. There's 24% increase since 2011. And I think anybody familiar with this, right? We cut the stomach. The stomach volume is actually about 2 liters. we make it into about 200 to 300. So what I do is, I will cut and leave it a small sleeve, which is called a sleeve gastrectomy. And this is our result. We have 5 years result of the sleeve gastrectomy with a total patient of 228 with a mean age of 35, and our operative time is about half an hour, and the BMI at 3 years is, after 3 years, the BMI dropped to 26. And look at the comorbidity reduction. 66% of them can get rid of their diabetic, 100% of the hypertension get resolved, and 50% of the cholesterol, hyperlipidemia get resolved. The reason is, there are people who have done the surgery, they even maintain a good BMI, but because my follow-up with them is about 5 years minimum, and our follow-up is very aggressive. So yearly we will do the blood test for them. Some of them, the cholesterol is going up. The reason is they are eating the wrong food. So my dietitian who is sitting there is working very hard, who is sitting there. Right? So we also have the result. We do the surgery with the conventional, with multiple holes, and with the only single port incision. Our result is comparable. It's only the cosmetic, nothing much. No? And this is how the excess weight loss, as the time goes, their weight loss is increasing and their BMI coming down. This is one of our first few patients that he has done the surgery and he's still able to maintain the same weight. And I think everybody heard about gastric bypass, right? Gastric bypass is still, at the moment, still considered as a gold standard of our bariatric surgery. Like they say, leg chole is a gold standard of the treatment of the gallstone. So what we do is, we cut the stomach into only 25 ml, but I leave this behind, remain. So this is only 25 ml, and then we bypass about 100 of the small bowel and another 100, and then we make it. So this type of the procedure, it consists of restriction, malnutrition, and hormonal changes mechanism in order for people to lose weight or get rid of their other comorbidity factors. And we have some super obese patients with the mean age of 29 years, and the BMI is ranging from, because above 50 is considered super obese. BMI is range from 50 to 75. We have done about 100 old patients, and 9 of them having complications, which are the anastomosis of the small bowel, internal hernia, malnutrition, but there is no mortality. This is to show it to you the safety of the surgery at this stage now. And this is their weight loss. The excess weight loss is up to 70% at the end of 2 years, and at 1 year, 87% of them, diabetes is gone, and the hypertension is gone in 75% of the patients. And this is one of our patients who have done the surgery, the bypass surgery. I don't have his big size picture because he told me when he is fat, he refused to take pictures. So he only gave me this to prove that he is fat before. Yes. So we're talking about gastric band and plication. I'm not mentioning about band because band is carrying a lot of complications and the poor results, with the rate of reoperation in 5 years about 53%. So I'm almost abandoned. I'm almost not doing band anymore nowadays. I used to do it for a teenage, but now I convert it all to the plications. Plication is what I'll do is, instead of I do a stapler and cut this away, I use the folding in the stomach into each other, and I suture it with a non-absorbable suture, and then I apply the band. These two procedures is augment each other, so they can produce a good weight loss. So we have how many people? We have about our BMI 32 to 54, with a mean BMI of 40s and age 16 to 60 patients. Operation time is longer because we need to suture, but there is no mortality, and our weight loss, excess weight loss is quite good, even at 68% at 4 years. Because for this procedure, what is the difference between this and the sleeve is, the sleeve procedure, the weight loss, after that you maintain it, your body equilibrium and hemostasis come into play. But with this, we still have the band to play around. And what I after certain years of experience, because we know that after excess weight loss in the obese patients, we will have a flabby skin. So what I play around with the female patient is I control their weight loss at the same time with tightening their body, so they don't have that flabby skin kind of the figures. No? So this is our patient from China. And we done a comparative studies actually between the leg band, adjusted band application, and the sleeve. Both are restrictive, and we have the similar post-operative gastric volume. And one is resection, and one is reversible, one is not reversible, because sleeve is not reversible. We do a case match study on that, and we found that the p-value is almost the same. Operative time, of course, the band application is longer, and complication is comparable, and the resolution of the comorbidity was significant in both group at 1 year, and 100% resolution in the diabetic, uric acid, and dyslipidemia and hypertension. And this is their, at the 2 years, the result is comparative. And this is the very new surgery that so far I think you can't find in the internet. I was just recently presented this in Taiwan about our preliminary results. First, what we do is we cut the fundus part of the stomach, because this is the part that secretes ghrelin that causes you to feel hungry. And then in order to reduce the volume, I just plicate the lower part. So I call it as a mini sleeve, but in the long term, it's a fundectomy with gastric plications. And what we do is we have 40 patients with a mean age of 43 years old, weight of 83, and mean height of 160. Our length of the hospital stay is about 2 days, and the operative time is more than 1 hour. More female than male, and we have, the only thing is in this group, our follow-up is a bit slack, because some of them are from overseas, and those people, they can't do the BMI below 32, they come over, so a bit slack on that part. So we have only 9 patients, and we have significant weight loss at 1 year, and their fasting blood sugar improvement with their cholesterol and HbA1c improvement at 1 year. So post-operatively, all comorbidity resolved except one patient. They still have their hyperlipidemia remain, and the complication is we got the umbilical wound breakdown. This is one of our first few patients who have done a mini sleeve. And just to praise our Taiko here, what he has done, he has helped me is, after this lady have reduced weight, he has done a thread lift and some of his work for me, and she looked like quite young. She's actually 64 now. So the Taiko is coming into play. So now, enough of the surgery. We talk about the hot topic, diabetic. Who believes that diabetes can be cured? people. Okay, alright, okay, never mind. I won't tell you it's 100%. I will give you some studies that I've done also. Why is that? So look at it. It's a shame, right? It's a gynecologist who published to us, tell us that actually surgical can cure diabetes. And this is our father of bariatric surgery, Porus. He published a paper in 1995 asking, is that the therapies for the diabetic? Is the surgery? And this paper has been like almost 20 years and the result is sustainable. So diabetic is a chronic, debilitating and costly disease associated with severe complications which poses several risks for families, members and entire world. And it's also the, the social economy because of the complications that they bring around, you know. Just to wake up and quick. Okay. So this is the relationship between the obesity. Everybody know that fat causing the insulin resistance and blah blah blah, and there are more pictures come into play, you know. And the higher the BMI, the higher the chances of you to get the diabetes. And look at that. A lot of people come and tell you, I don't have diabetes. But you look at them, you know they are going to have diabetes. This is the natural history of the diabetes. Fasting and postprandial. Average will be about 7 to 9 years before you actually diagnosed to have diabetes. At that time, their blood sugar already impaired, and your beta cell is working very hard to maintain your blood sugar. This is how the onset of diabetes, 50% of your beta cell already declined, and 5% each year. So, majority of the Asian Pacific fail to achieve glycemic control. Malaysia, we have only 22% of the success rate. And what is diabetic remission? When you treat your patient, what are you looking at? Are you looking at fasting blood sugar, HbA1c, right? That is what is important, because HbA1c is very bad. It can cause all those micro neuropathy and all that kind of thing. So the International Diabetic Federation, they have set a guideline for us. So when we do our study, we always follow our guideline. When we do our looking at our patients' diabetic control, we follow the guidelines. And when I look at my patients, I'm looking into their pancreatic functions before I'm able to tell them, well, I think it will help you or not. So there are multiple drugs. I think you all know better than me. And this is the comparison between the patient who have undergone the surgery or patient who without the surgery. Look at the HbA1c control. It's better in the surgical group all the time. And we look at this is the very famous study. And when this paper come out in 2013, it's really made a hoo-ha in the whole world. This is done by Philip Shower in Cleveland Clinic. He has randomized 50 patients in 3 groups with the medical and intervention, sleeve, or patient undergone the gastric bypass. This is the result at 1 year. Sorry about this one, but the HbA1c coming down, the weight coming down, the medications used coming down. This is the result at 1 year. And they follow up the patient until 5 years. He just published his result last year. So it's the medications that you use. You see, look at the medical group, 50%. And look at the HbA1c. Those who have undergone the surgery is almost controlled. And the change in the BMI, those who have not gone for the surgery is the same. Who have gone for the surgery, their weight loss has been coming down. And the HbA1c also coming down. From what the conclusion that we have is, those who undergone the surgical, their control is better, remission is higher as compared to the lifestyle and medication. For those who have not gone for the surgery, who is on the lifestyle and medication, although they are going into the remission, but the number of medication they use is more and more each time. So, preventing the expensive complications. I've done a case match study. This is also a very new operation, but it's actually first invented by my friend from Japan, and then we follow it. We compare this with the bypass surgery. The reason why is like, although bypass is still a gold standard, but we are almost abandoned, like moving away from doing bypass, because bypass carry a lot of dumping syndrome, anastomotic ulcer, dilatation, stricture, malnutrition, especially for the female, they may have anemic iron deficiency. So we have compared this, but this study is done for the patient whose BMI is below 32. So I got this as a distinction poster because the number is very small. So because of the distinction, they allowed me to present 5 slides about my studies. So pathetic. So this is our summaries that the effect of the bypass and the sleeve with jejunal bypass. In fact, the result is much better, you know. So now you come to the next question. Why there are certain people, they undergone the surgery, their diabetes is improved? Why there is no? Right? Will you think everybody? No, right? Not everybody who undergone the surgery, they will have the 100% cure. Even my studies also never tell you it's all 100%, right? So because of that, I looked into the factor and I present this paper in America. I got the runner-up for the John Harbison Award. I lost to a Cleveland clinic, as usual, because I'm an Asian. Okay, so I looked into the predictor of what determines the patients who can get their diabetic cure after the surgeries. You know, we have 220 patients with the age of about 43 and BMI about 37. The duration of diabetic, mean duration is about 33 months. And the family history of diabetic is about 126 patients. And I look at those patients who have undergone the bypass, only for those patients. So we have divided the patients into those whose BMI above 35 and BMI below 35, because there will be a difference in their metabolic stage, which is another complicated topic to talk about. So we look at their age, the p-value is almost significant, because you look at those who has BMI less than 35, they are older, they have a longer diabetic duration, and their blood sugar is more or less controlled, and their HbA1c is higher, their C-peptide is lower. C-peptide is the pancreatic function. So we look at the BMI changes, you know, all for the total patient is all significantly changed at 1 year, and the HbA1c changes, both also coming down, and their fasting blood sugar, both also coming down in this. And we look at the total patient, the remission, total of the patient remission is 72%. And there's 25% improvement, 2% unchanged, and 1% of them have a recurrence. So, total patient remission rate is 72%, but for those BMI more than 35, their remission rate is very high, it's 92%. And for those less than 35, the BMI, the remission rate is about 46, it's comparable with the study I did just now, because they are older, they have longer duration of diabetic, and they have more severe diabetic. So for this, we look into what are the factors that determine that who can get their diabetic cure. So I analyzed all is necessary. This is a very busy slide, which is we run it through the multivariate analysis and logistic regression model and all that. This is the conclusion that we come out is the C-peptide, level of C-peptide and HbA1c duration of diabetic is important to determine the remission of the diabetic. And for those BMI is more than 35, their pancreatic function is the only factor which is determine whether after the surgery their diabetic will be cured or not. And for those who is less than BMI less than 35 is the duration of diabetes. It's all interrelated. As we know, when the duration is longer, the pancreatic function also is worse, right? So these are the complications that we encounter. We don't have any mortality. So this is the very hot debate nowadays between our endocrinologists and the bariatric surgeon. Some international conference, we already start to incorporate the endocrinologists into our meetings, and we have some discussion and invite them for our talks and all that. So, talk about so much. So, Dr. Peter always asks me, which patient can refer to you? So, Dr. Peter, BMI more than 37 or those 32 to 37 with any comorbidity. And then contraindication, I don't want drug addicts, I don't want who is psychotic, okay, or who is like having life-threatening in short terms, or who is not able to take care of themselves, right? And this is the latest that we come into the joint statement by the International Diabetic Organization about the treatment of diabetes. So this is a busy slide to basically tell you those who is below 30 what to do, above 30 what to do. It's okay. If you think you need, you just can call me. I will let you know what to do, right? Okay. This one is. So in conclusion, the surgery is extend beyond the improvement of the weight and glycemic control, but it also exhibit a reduction in overall the cardiovascular morbidity and mortality, as well as the cancer rate. Look at the complications we have, basically from the head to toes. We have mechanical and we have metabolic problems. After the bariatric studies, you have quality of life improvement is 95%, mortality reduction 89%, reduction in 5 years mortality rate. And these are the improvement in what they have. And metabolic surgery and its impact. This is what we have to look into when we talk about this, when we want to advise them, is that feasible or not? How about the effectiveness, durability? Is it reversibility? There is a study also claimed that after certain years, the rebound, sometimes, some study up to 64%, some study is 23% of the recurrence of the diabetic. And is that a shift of the treatment paradigm? Anybody agree that surgical can help with the diabetic? And the prevention of the metabolic obesity and its complications? And how about the issue, the patient issue, their dilemma, their choice? And how about our future direction and considerations? Look at the durability of weight loss with bariatric surgery and without the surgery, and remission or reversal of metabolic condition after the surgery, and long-term reduction in the micro and macrovascular complication, retinopathy, cardiovascular event, and a long road ahead. Since it started from 1995, after our father of surgery, Porus start talking about the surgery is diabetic is a surgical disease, and we have been improving. We have our second summit in London. I was attending it. It's a very useful one. And then after that, we are talking about future, and we are talking about collaborating with the multi-center studies. And metabolic surgery and its impact on the medical therapy. Team approach is crucial, actually. is very important for us to produce a good result and with safety. This is our team approach, and this is my beautiful dietitian. She has done a lot of hard work, even work until 1 a.m. at night.